comes. Oh, my goodness. In your life, have you seen anything like that? There it is. A win for the ages. Is it his time?
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Putting It Straight podcast. This week, a slightly sad podcast. I've only got one co-host alongside me this week, which is Simon Dainter. How are we doing, Simon? Are you okay?
I'm sad.
I'm sad, and I feel like we need to explain why.
I think that you should explain why.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've had to let Tom go from the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We've received many letters of complaint, and quite frankly, we had an honest discussion about his performance and conduct in previous episodes, and he just wasn't the right fit for the podcast anymore, was he, Simon?
No, it was appraisal season, wasn't it? And he just didn't perform very well. And that was that. He was still in his probationary period, and we had to let him go.
At the end of the day, this is a business. Tough decisions have to be made.
Mm-hmm.
Cuts have to be made at times.
Yes. Wait. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Cuts have to be made, and Tom just didn't make the cut.
Didn't make the cut. So
no, I mean, in all seriousness, we're only messing. Tom's having a week off. He'll be back next week.
Yeah, I think he's got, what was it? Shame sickness or something like that, wasn't it?
Shame syndrome, something
shame
like
syndrome, that was it. Yeah, shame syndrome.
Syndrome. I mean, the main side effects or causes of said syndrome are predicting that one player or person was going to get -5 and actually then getting -5 themselves. And that is unfortunately what happened to him this week, wasn't it?
Yes. He had an absolute rotter of a week. That's all that we can say. It was terrible. He got -5. And it's quite funny as well. I don't think he's going to be very happy because if you'll remember from last week, if you saw last week's episode, he said that he was going to pick John Rahm. And I said I wasn't sure whether he was playing or not. And so he checked. And then he said he was going to go for Patrick Reed if not. He said, if John Rahm's playing, I'll have him. If not, I'll go for Patrick Reed. Turns out John Rahm was playing, missed the cut, so got him -5, and Patrick Reed secured a tied 6th finish. So he would have got 8 points, is that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So basically what we're saying is you have performed a wonderful piece of shithousery.
Absolute. Yeah. Bullshitted my way through that one. Just planted the seed of doubt and got him -5.
You've officially got in his head.
I think, yeah, rent-free. That is where I shall remain. Although, let's face it, we didn't really need to be in his head, did we? You know, he's sliding down that leaderboard quite quickly now. He's on the slippery slope. There's only one place he's heading.
Yeah. I mean, he got off to a slow start, and then I'm starting to think that his recovery now is more of a fluke and a coincidence rather than actual planning and having good picks. So
it wasn't planning. He sits there on Bet365 literally as we're doing the podcast.
It's as soon as I say, right, picks for next week, and he goes,
the colour drains out of his face and he just picks his phone up like, oh God.
If you could hear inside his brain, what he's actually saying at that moment is, go to Simon first, go to Simon first, go to Simon first.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, you gotta love him. You've got to love him.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
But in other news, you had a fantastic week, didn't you?
What can I say? It was a bold pick. I did say he was either going to make me look stupid and miss the cut, or he was going to do well. Like I said last week, it was a venue that he's done well at. Won the Wells Fargo twice before at the same venue. So clearly a feel-good factor there. And a lot of the times when players are making some swing changes, a common turning point for them is actually going back to a course where they've played before, because they've got that feel-good factor. And it gives them just that little bit of extra confidence that they need that week to find some form. But it's really interesting listening to him talk, because he nearly didn't play. I don't know if you've seen this.
Yeah.
So for anybody that did watch coverage on Thursday night, he had some tape on his neck. And in his post-tournament press conference after he'd won, he was basically explaining that on the range on Wednesday morning, he'd been hitting balls, he'd hit a 3-iron and just turn around to talk to his caddy, Harry. And as he's turned, just felt a massive twinge down the left-hand side of his neck, and it just all locked up. And he basically said that, he iced it all that afternoon, just stopped what he was doing, and then got up Thursday morning and it was still stiff. And he said that had he have had a morning tee time on Thursday, he probably would have pulled out.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because what ended up happening was he was able to go and get a bit more treatment, loosen it off to a point where, he talked about he could still feel it, but it was manageable, and it got better throughout the week. Went out and shot. I think he was 1 over on the first day. He was down in tied 73rd, and then had a great second round to get himself back into it. So really incredible performance in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a close call, like something like that. It's I don't know. You sort of feel like it was meant to be. Like he's returned to it somewhere he's won before, having that sort of like injury scare and stuff. It felt like it was meant to be, and that wasn't like the only weird thing that happened. I don't know whether you saw about Bryson as well. Unbelievable! Yeah. What an absolute numpty.
Yeah. So for anybody that didn't see this story, just explain what actually happened here.
So basically, he's had 2 pretty poor rounds. I can't remember what his score was to par, but anyway, he was over par. Didn't think he'd made the cut. Is the long and short of it. And so he's essentially hopped on a plane home, and then as he's sort of mid-flight, he's got a call saying, "You've made the cut. You need to come back." And so he's got home, jumped straight back on the plane, gone back and done the last 2 days, and then gone back on the plane home again. So it was like a 2,000-mile round trip that he did in the end, just because he thought he hadn't made the cut.
Yeah, because he flew back to Dallas, wasn't it? That's where he's based.
Charlotte? Yeah.
From Charlotte to Dallas. And I actually think that because he took a picture on social media in his home gym at home. So I think he basically got home, did a workout, and then he got it was like a middle of the night flight, like 2:45 or something. Landed back in Charlotte, got off the plane, went to the course and teed off. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, but he finished really well.
He had a really good third round after that flight back.
I think he finished.
He had a really good.
Finished 400, didn't he, for the tournament or something like that?
Yeah. He wasn't a million miles off. I mean, I think he jokes about it later in the week. Like lesson learned. I think he was frustrated at himself with his own play, but I think, and to be fair, they all must do it after a Friday, particularly if you've played in the morning. They look at the scores and they've been out there long enough to know where the cut line's going to fall and whether they're inside it or not.
Yeah.
And based on that, they either get on a plane or they hang around and they wait.
Yeah.
And he obviously saw enough from the scoring early in the afternoon to suggest that he wasn't going to be there for the weekend. But for whatever reason, he got it wrong that time. And thankfully, he managed to make it back. But I don't think it's a mistake that he'll make again. I think
certainly won't be.
Lesson definitely learnt with that one, for sure. For sure. But I mean, if we go back to Rory for a second, obviously it's been, I think in the end it was something like 557 days or something since his last win. And I think we talked about this a little bit before, kind of why is it taking him so long to come back? But the other thing I wanted to mention really was it was interesting listening to him talk in the press conferences after, because he touched on the topic of fans being there again, and how he just really struggled with no fans there, and he really felt like he needed that energy from the crowd to kind of help him through. I just wonder what your thoughts are on that. And obviously for some of those big players, they really must feed off that energy a lot at events, mustn't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're at the very, very top of the game like Rory is, and you're such a good player like that, and he's been around for a while now, having started very young, I think when you've been there, just normal tournament play probably doesn't quite cut it without the fans anymore, because you need that sort of adrenaline.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why does it matter unless it's like a major or something? It just doesn't have that same feeling. And I mean, you could argue that with most sports at the moment. Like everyone said how weird the Premier League is this season. Just I feel like without the fans, it's not the same to watch. But yeah, so I think that's a similar sort of feel. As soon as I've got those fans there, it sort of boosts that adrenaline, and I think it makes it matter a little bit more, which is absolutely vital for Rory. Really, if he's going to bring out his best game, he's got to care about it and got to really want it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And I think it was really interesting as well seeing. I don't know if you saw this, because he wears one of those called like a Whoop band, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which for anybody that doesn't know what that is it essentially it's a tracker, so it tracks heart rate and recovery, quality of sleep, all of that stuff. So it really gives you detailed information on what your body's doing at that moment in time, like a live reading, and then also like your trends of recovery and stuff like that. And his heart rate on that tee shot on 18, when he had a 2-shot lead and he's hit that toe hook with a 3-wood into water, his heart rate went through the roof, didn't it?
Well, it was 131 stood over the ball. And then it
which is a lot.
Yeah, and it jumped up massive, didn't it? As soon as he saw it going left.
Yeah.
I feel like he must
considering
have nightmares.
Oh god, yeah. And I think they talked about, I mean, he's incredibly fit, isn't he, Rory? So his resting heart rate is low. I think I'm sure somebody said it was like 45 beats per minute.
Yeah.
Which
I could see that, yeah.
Seriously low, but he's a very fit athlete. So to be stood over a tee shot on the 72nd hole with a 2-shot lead and your heart rate be up at 131, and then when it started going left, you just saw it gradually increase to like 140.
Yeah.
I mean, but in all seriousness though, and they've done a lot of research in, that's tough to control the tempo of your golf swing when your heart rate is that elevated.
If you think about it, so if his heart rate is, let's say 45, just for argument's sake, at resting, obviously it's going to be elevated a little bit from him walking around and stuff, but nowhere near 131. You probably think, 60 beats a minute if he's just walking, maybe?
Yeah, 60, 65.
So that must feel like it is beating out of his neck. Like, it must feel absolutely insane. Like, stood there, his heart beating out of his chest and he can feel it. It stood there trying to hit a golf shot with that going on. How are you supposed to do it?
It must be like running like a 100-meter race and then being asked to go and stand there and hit a tee shot.
Exactly, with a 2-shot lead on the 72nd hole.
Best of luck to you.
All the best.
It's horrendous, but it just goes to show what these top players go through when they're under the gun.
And it shows that they're human as well. They might look cool on the exterior, but they are crapping themselves on the inside. And it shows. Course. Yeah.
So for all you club golfers out there
standing on the first tee,
nervous on the first tee, just think about, Rory McIlroy, and it even happens to the best players in the world. You are not alone.
Yeah.
So take a deep breath, take your time, and you'll be okay. And at the end of the day, if you hit a bad shot, well, Rory did it as well. Fortunately, got away with it. And interestingly, on that point, I don't know if did you stay up to watch that last hole?
I watched the next day, so I watched a repeat of it.
You watched the next day. I mean, we've criticised Harry Diamond a little bit in previous podcasts about not really being the right caddy for Rory down the stretch. I'm now going to give him a serious amount of credit, because where Rory's ball finished, it was inside the hazard, but on grass. But it was in a real depression. And the shot that they were looking at to play it back towards the fairway over the creek didn't look like he could actually really get at the back of the ball to get any elevation. So they took a walk up to the bank up on the left of the creek and discussed whether they could hack it up the left-hand side. But then as they were discussing, Harry said, well, why don't we just, you're in the hazard. You don't have to play it. You can still take a drop. And at least we're not on the steepest part of the slope here. The grass is pretty even. We'll get a relatively decent lie. You're going to get to place it because it's going to bounce twice into the water anyway. And let's play from there. And that was the decision that they took. And I thought at that moment, to think that clearly, when at times I think he's probably lacked a little bit of confidence to really maybe put his opinion across to Rory and tell him what he thinks he should do. I thought that was really impressive.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think maybe that's what they both need. So, he's obviously very, very new to it. It's not something that he sort of trained to do, was to be a caddy, was it? So
no.
Maybe these were the experiences that he needed. And the only way that people learn is to make mistakes. And so maybe he's made his mistakes. And now if he's that perfect combination for Rory of someone who's got his head screwed on and knows what's best at what time, as well as that friendly character that Rory needs when he's playing, it might be the match made in heaven. Maybe he just needed that little bit of time and that little bit of faith from people to actually make his mistakes and learn from them and finally do the right thing.
I think that's a really important point. Very interesting. I mean, we talk about how players, sometimes it takes them a few chances to get a win. They get into contention a couple of times and maybe not get it done. And then once they've had those experiences of not winning, they know what to do the next time they get in that position. And then they finally get over the line. And like you say, Harry he's not a caddy by trade. He's fallen into that role, and perhaps he's needed to go through the same kind of experiences. So as much as I was happy for Rory, I was actually really happy to see Harry step up on the 72nd hole and really kind of make that decision for them as a team.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was really cool.
How do you think it felt for Rory as well, like being first win as a dad and having obviously his family there? Do you reckon it meant more to him?
I think so. And I think maybe that's something Rory needs a bit more of.
Yes.
I think he's one of the biggest talents that golf's had for a generation. He's carried that pressure for a long time. I mean, when he first came out on the scene, he's had all the comparisons to Tiger and all that kind of stuff. He's won events. He's been in Ryder Cups. He's got more money than he'll ever need. He's got a lucrative deal with Nike.
Yeah.
You can kind of understand why he'd maybe, I don't want to say fall out of love with it, but kind of feel like, oh, well, I've got everything I need.
What's the point?
Relax now. What's the point? But maybe now having become a dad and having a family, that might just give him that little bit of extra something to, put some fire in his belly and get motivated to not just try and turn up for majors, but really try and win as many tournaments as he can, because we're talking about somebody that if he wanted to, he could go and win over 50 PGA Tour events easily.
Yeah.
It's just a case of whether he wants to do it. So, yeah, I think it did mean more to him.
Let's hope so.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. So if we take a look to our next event then. So this week we've got the Byron Nelson Championship. Obviously, Tom isn't here, but he has given us his pick for this week, who I'm sure he found on Bet365.
This is the most prepared he's ever been in his life.
Yeah. Ironic that he's not here. So yeah, Tom has sent in his pick, and obviously he's already picked Bryson, and he's gone with DJ and all that kind of stuff. He's gone for Bombers, but he's not had Cameron Champ yet until now. So he's gone for another Bomber. He has gone for Cameron Champ. How do you fancy his chances this week?
Slim to none. I think he hits it well. I'd love to see him win. Massive fan of his swing. Love a swing. Absolutely. I think it's, buttery, but I'm not quite sure he's got the whole game just yet. So we'll see. But I don't fancy his chances.
Yeah, it's been an interesting one. Obviously, he got his first win pretty quickly. And then since then, struggled.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a couple of injuries and bits and pieces like that, but for the most part, has struggled since then. So, yeah, interesting one. Might work out potentially another -5.
Potentially another one,
so, who have you gone for?
This week, I've gone for Matt Fitzpatrick. He's had very, very good run of form. He's playing great golf at the moment. Probably as in control of his golf ball and his swing as I've seen him. And we know he's a straight hitter as it is anyway, because he doesn't hit it too far. That's sort of something that he relies on quite heavily in his game. So yeah, he's very much in control. He's in a good run of form. He knows how to score. I feel like he's about to understand how to win as well. So that's what I'm going for.
I think that's a good pick. And Fitz is one of those, like, he's won more than you think. Like, he's a serious player. And when he's on, I mean, he's putting his lights out. It's frightening. It's unbelievable around the greens. And yeah, I think, like you say, his ball striking and the control of his swing has been at a level that we've maybe not seen before with him. So yeah, potentially a very good pick.
What about you? Who are you going for? No, you don't hate to say. You know I'm full of good picks.
Yeah. Why are you behind me on the leaderboard then?
I knew you'd say that. Right, Russell, we were tied. Russell had a bad week. He told me he wasn't feeling 100%. Just
he got you on the old dog and bone, didn't he? And told you weren't feeling great.
Yeah. He hit me up, and he gave me the lowdown on what was what. I said he wasn't quite feeling 100%. He said he could have won it, but instead he wanted to finish almost dead last after making the cut. So yeah, that's how it went.
Okay, I'll believe you.
But yeah, you're sitting top now.
Overall?
Top overall, mate.
Of everyone?
Of everyone. I wasn't going to tell you until Tom was back here, but I feel like with Tom here as well, like the smugness will go up a level. Like, I mean, it's pretty smug now.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah, top of the whole thing. First time any of us have been top, this is. And there's quite a few people as well now. There's quite a few people, so that's even more impressive.
I've just realised this isn't the only thing that I'm top of at the minute, am I? Is it Simon?
No, it's not actually.
Would you just like to maybe explain the events at work last week?
No, the floor is all yours, Matthew. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Thank you very much. It's all yours to talk about. I'll wash my hands of this whole situation.
I mean, I won't bang on about it for too long, but long story short.
You might not on it, but I've had a bleeding week of this.
You've got a few more weeks for it as well.
No, I think
between me and Simon, we've got a little monthly bet going on for Salesman of the Month at work. So basically, the person who gets the most amount of commission on sales is crowned top dog for the month. And last month I came out victorious.
Look, I didn't know we were starting.
That was the first.
No. I don't want to hear it. I did not know that was when we were starting from. If I would have prepared, I'd have got my sales pitches ready, mate, I'd have smashed it, but I didn't know. And now I'm in a downer, and so my sales aren't as good, and so you might win again. And it's just a vicious cycle of basically you cheating. That's all that's happened.
No. What it is, Tom,
Top
is
knob.
you're talking about, wanting to know when to prepare and when to be ready with all those brilliant sales pitches. The difference, my friend, is I'm always prepared. I'm always ready with that sales pitch to make that sale. And it's like that that interview with Tiger. Who was it? It wasn't Freddie Couples, was it? The you'll learn thing when Tiger's on about wanting to win his first event and he's going, sometimes second's not that bad.
Yeah,
goes, yeah, but I want to win. And it just goes, you'll learn. What I feel like right now, you'll learn. Oh dear.
No.
Look,
if I'd have been given time, if I'd have known, you knew that you'd had decent sales anyway for that month, so bit of cheating, really.
I'm feeling good for. I'm feeling good for this month as well.
The next three.
I'd had a few. I'd had a few sales that had kind of overlapped and hadn't quite come through yet because they'd not been delivered. But yeah, so I'm feeling good for May as well.
I need to step it up.
We'll see.
I've got to step it up.
We'll see how that turns out. Yeah, you get on my level.
Okay.
Come join me up here.
Unbelievable.
Oh dear.
I really didn't think I was going to make it to the podcast. I'm so upset.
It had to. If we get back onto topic, my pick for this week is a bit of a Tom Palmer pick, but I've not picked him yet, so I feel like I am entitled to. I am going for Bryson DeChambeau.
You know what? That absolutely screams of.
Go on.
That scream. No. It screams of you getting cagey because you're at the top of the leaderboard. And now for the next 4 months, you're going to pick Bryson, DJ, Rory, Bryson, DJ.
No, what it screams of is I've got to the top and I intend on staying there.
Yeah, because you're cagey. You're trying to pick the sure things now. There is no chance you are going to pick someone that we go, oh, I hadn't thought about him.
That's not true. If we go back over the previous 11 episodes and look at my picks, I've had a very eclectic selection of players. I
can see you saying eclectic for about 5 seconds before you said eclectic. You literally went, I've had a very eclectic pick. People. Yes, I know, Matthew. I know that you have, but now you're at the top. You're getting cagey, mate. And so now you're starting to pick the top 5. You're becoming Tom Palmer because you're cagey at the top. You're scared.
You're just rattled by my superior form.
I am only 8 points behind you, mate. Easily.
Is that all?
Yeah, I got 2 points this week. You got 10 points, and we were tied last week, weren't we?
Wow. Damn. How far clear of Tom are we?
Miles.
I mean,
miles and miles.
I'm not gonna lie. The thought of watching Tom do the "I want to break free" video is just it fills me with joy when I think about it.
I will buy him everything that he needs. He's already said that he hasn't got a Hoover. I will buy him the best damn Hoover he has ever seen in his life. I will buy him a £50 pair of tights. I will go to town. I will get him the best costume he's ever had in his life, just to make sure he does it.
I'm fully on board with that. I want special effects. I want the full works for this. This is going to be the whole shebang. I cannot wait. Purely because I know how much he doesn't want to do it.
Oh, it's got very serious for him. He was very, very quick to say, no, we ain't going to do that. No, we ain't going to do that. We ain't going to do that. It was very, very, very quick to that.
And we're there going, Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Oh yes, we are.
I think he's
God.
the worst one for it to do. Like, I don't think we'd be overly bothered by it, to be honest. I mean, you do it most weekends anyway, so
it's just a Friday night. It's just a Friday night, isn't it?
It's been lockdown. Times are slow, aren't they? You got to do whatever you can.
I've got that routine down to a T, mate. Oh,
I love it. Absolutely love it.
So good, so good. Well, look, I hope you've enjoyed our little mini podcast with Tom's absence. But Tom has assured us that he will be back next week. We've had a meeting. He's had his disciplinary, and he will be allowed back. So. We've got lots to look forward to next week, and we'll have a proper main topic for us to dive into. But yeah, we hope that you've enjoyed this little mini podcast. Like we always say, you can find us on social media. Look for the handle @PutItStraight on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, any questions that you've got for us, you can still email into us. I normally ask Tom for this, but so I'm going to come to you. What's our email address?
Really sad. I don't even want to say it. Just put it on the screen, man. I don't want to say it. I can't take it away from Tom.
It's there somewhere. So, look, guys, we really hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week for what will be episode 13.
Episode 13? God, time flies.
Where have the weeks gone? Unbelievable. So, until then, goodbye.
See you guys.
Here it comes. Oh my goodness. In your life have you seen anything like that? There it is. A win for the ages.